Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no. So I think I should share with you every YouTuber's best kept secret. The one question that every YouTuber is always asked is, what do you want to be remembered for? What do you want your legacy defined through? And my answer to that question has always been creating the best YouTube content that anybody could ever watch, to go down in history for being the greatest content creator of all time. And while I may be far away from 458.1 million subscribers, which is the precise amount of subscribers that I need to surpass Mr. Beast, I know I have the love and support of every fan of Descendants and Zombies. So if it comes to a dream of me becoming President of the United States, to finally give Clarke that one president she can finally be proud of and go out and vote for, then I believe that I have a chance of doing it because I have the love and support of every fan of Descendants and Zombies. When it comes to being everybody's favorite action hero in the Descendants franchise, I believe that I can bring that character to life because I have the love and support of every fan of Descendants and Zombies. Allow me to put it to you this way. There is nothing that I think I can't do because I have the love and support of every fan of Descendants and Zombies, because their love and support is the one thing that is constant, that forever remains true, and is truly unconditional. I have never experienced anything quite like this ever in my life. I know I never will again. And because of you, I will never forget what you did for me and what you did for this YouTube channel. If there was one thing, something I wanted every fan of Descendants and Zombies to never forget me because of, was creating great videos so that when you got older, you would look back at these videos and say, that guy was really cool. He was really sweet. He recorded a lot of great videos about my favorite characters and the stories that I love so much. And he told this story in a very different way apart from every other YouTuber out there that never really appreciated fans of Descendants and Zombies, because sorry to tell you, there are a lot of content creators out there who have never appreciated this niche the way that you guys have forever and always deserve to be appreciated. And I wanted to bring this story to life in a way that it was never brought to light before, to showcase these stars for their strength, their dedication, and most of all their heart. Because within every character you guys saw in Descendants, past or new, they had a heart. And oftentimes that heart has been broken because of how critics and reviews have made them feel, often in questioning if they're really, as good as what they perceive themselves as being. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to take that away. I wanted to create something special so that if Clarke or Freya Sky may have seen these videos, for instance, they would have taken something special away from it just as you did. Because without a doubt, everybody who ever watched one of my videos saw this franchise have its story told in a way that you never imagined it ever would be told or described. There are a lot of people who just tell you what they loved about Descendants, what they didn't like so much about Descendants, what their favorite character was, what their favorite moment may have been. And I wanted to be different. I wanted to separate these videos from every other YouTuber out there, every other channel that may have 100,000 subscribers for whatever reason. It has 100,000 subscribers, I really don't know. But my greatest wish and my greatest dream has always been that every fan of Descendants and Zombies would have eventually subscribed here. For whatever the reason was they would have subscribed here to this YouTube channel, I wanted every fan of Descendants and Zombies to subscribe here. I had no idea how I would give everybody a reason to subscribe here, but everybody chose this YouTube channel over time. Because this certainly didn't happen for me overnight. I obviously saw something special in Clarke and Freya Sky. I've never denied that. And the one thing you guys have come to know me for being is very supportive of these stars, because I saw something special in their stories, and I thought those stories deserved to be told and deserved to be showcased in ways put on pedestals they had never been put on pedestals before. And I had the honor of being a part of that because I saw the strength in Clarke. These incredible workouts she does are amazing. Her talent is off the charts. And because she has things like a new album coming out, I don't think she deserves all the criticism she has received about her past relationship with Malachi Barton, or this happening to her, or that happening to her. I think she deserves more of a chance, and I wanted to be that one guy that will give it to her, along with the love and support of every fan of Descendants and Zombies, because I would have never been able to do this without your guys' love and support. You guys are what puts the magic behind every video I've ever created, puts the magic in my life, and I just want you guys to know that, because there are so many creators out there who just sit here and talk about Descendants and Zombies without ever giving you much of a reason. And I think every fan of Descendants and Zombies deserves a reason and an explanation for people feeling the way they do, because oftentimes these reviews of Descendants and Zombies that you guys are subjected to watching are very critical, and it is very cruel, some of the things they've said about your favorite stars without ever giving them much of a chance. I know there are people out there, even fans, who think the Rise of Red should have never been made, but those are people who have never really given it much of a chance. I know people feel very differently about Descendants and Zombies, and there are people out there that will always shut this out. But the thing is, once you do fall in love with this and you give it a chance, you will have no regrets because the music was beautiful, the story is very deep, and it's very complex sometimes. It takes a while to understand just how complex it is because every character in the franchise, past or present, has a story. And they want more than anything else in the world for their story to be showcased. And I just wanted to be a part of that because I saw something special in Ruby Rose Turner, who is a character that everybody was talking about in 2024. Following the premiere of Descendants: The Rise of Red, everybody was talking about Ruby Rose Turner for her contributions as the character Bridget. And I never ever forgot Ruby. Undeniably, I would love for Ruby to know that she will forever and always hold a very special place in my heart for the story she told and the stories she shared with us about how she was so kind and so sweet, and then from out of nowhere, for no particular reason, she morphed into this super villain that became the most annoying villain in Disney villain history. I remember the original Queen of Hearts having this high-pitched voice that was very annoying, and through her actions, not necessarily just her voice, but also her actions, she became a very annoying villain to have to watch as part of Alice in Wonderland's cast. But I think that Red, the daughter of the Queen of Hearts, did a fabulous job telling the story of a VK kid that had never been told before. And I know that a lot of people felt very critical about Red, but I think as time went on, people gave her more of a chance because they fell in love with her fashion sense, her strength, her power, and how she was a villain that was really outstanding for how she was a very different villain from what we remember seeing in the Descendants franchise. It was a very special experience and one that I will never ever forget having the chance to be a part of. She often reminded me of a character such as Evie because she was so fearless. While Mal may have been in doubt about her falling in love with Ben and becoming a hero that her mother never imagined that she would, I think that Evie was one of those confident characters that never really cared about what anybody thought about her and really stood out in her own way. And that's what separated her from every other character in the past cast that we've seen of Descendants that really offered us something special and really gave us something special to believe in. I have felt more than honored to be a part of this journey that I've been on for forever. And I felt more than honored to have experienced this with each and every one of you because what you made possible for me was truly unbelievable. And I will never forget any of you for allowing me the opportunity to have shared in this incredible experience, one that I know that will forever and always hold a very special place in my heart because we all took something special away from Descendants and Zombies, regardless if it was the music, musically, or the story for how beautiful it was. We all took something special away from it, and many of us became friends, and some of those beautiful bonds were formed because of Descendants and Zombies. I've seen this every day. I've seen people for years bond over Descendants and Zombies with no explanation or no reason being given. They just bonded. And you know something? They are still the best of friends to this very day, like we saw with the friendship between Mel and Evie, or the friendship between Red and Chloe, because that's what Descendants and Zombies became defined through. The story of Zed and Addison's love, or the friendship of Red and Chloe, or the friendship previously that we saw between Mel and Evie because they were such powerful characters who really had no backstory whatsoever. And I think that was really authentic about these characters is how they had no backstory whatsoever, and it was very difficult for them to really bring their stories to life because they had no idea how people were going to respond to it. And it is really scary not knowing how people are going to respond to you when you step out onto that stage or the set of a movie like Descendants or Zombies, because you are a part of one of Disney's most successful franchises. Now, years ago, nobody ever imagined that Descendants would have become the greatest franchise in Disney history, but when you step onto the set of a movie set like Descendants or Zombies, you have no idea how people are going to respond to you. But just put yourself in Red's shoes, for instance. If you were Kylie Control playing this character for the first time ever, nobody has any idea about her, and you're in front of the camera, and you're saying these lines for a script, but you never know how people are going to respond to you, how would you feel if you were subjected to all these negative reviews and you were never given much of a chance? You'd probably quit. But Kylie Control never ever quit. No matter how people felt about her, no matter how much of a chance they gave her, she never ever quit because the one thing she always did was believe in herself, and most of all, she believed in her dreams. And I think as more of us got to know her for the person that she was, through the PR Descendants had set up, and Disney was so proud to really put their stars out there for having done, as we got to know Kylie Control, we took away a greater appreciation for her, and we really felt connected to Kylie Control's life and everything she represented. I can tell you from being a fan of Descendants and Zombies, I have never felt so strongly about someone as I have Kylie Control. I think by far she is one of the most beautiful Descendants characters we've ever seen. I know that she is far from perfect, and I know that she has her flaws. But the thing is, even though she is far from perfect and she has her flaws, she is a beautiful person, and how people have felt about her have never been any reflection on how I feel about Kylie Control or how you should feel about Kylie Cantrell. The girl is performing on the red carpets all the time. She is attending the Grammy Award shows. She just recently attended the iHeartRadio Music Awards for this year. It's really incredible seeing her on the red carpet at such a young age and doing all this PR to promote her upcoming album, which will release later on this year, which we're really excited about for Kylie, and Descendants 5 book Wonderland, which is receiving really wonderful reviews and such praise. Because I'm not the only one talking about Descendants of Zombies. All of you believe in Descendants of Zombies and are giving it the spotlight it so rightfully deserves. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being the ghosts behind Kylie Cantrell that are always pushing her, being the wind in her hair, because you guys are really supporting her with so much undeniable love and support, which I can never seem to get enough of. The one thing that's always intrigued me about you guys is you are so wonderfully supportive of your favorite stars, and you never ever quit them. The one thing that has always remained constant about the Descendants of Zombies franchises is how you guys have forever remained the one constant thing in their lives that have shown them so much love and support and have always outshined the criticism. Because for every star who is undeniably beautiful, like a Barbie doll, or forever strong, they all have critics. And as I've said many times over the years, everybody is a critic. But if you actually give these stars a chance, like Ruby and Kylie and Malia, you will honestly understand why they've been there for each other every step of the way, because they can't do it alone. And I think that has everything to do with how we're all far from perfect and we're all created equal. I think we all have hearts that eventually break and are shattered. And I think that every fan of Descendants of Zombies has gradually put the hearts of these stars back together and allowed them more incentive to really step out onto that stage and perform at the highest criteria possible. I saw it at the Worlds Collide Tour with how much love and support you guys came out with. I saw it in the performances gave for Descendants of Zombies all the time in the franchises and the very chapters that we watched, and I had so much fun experiencing it. From the very first Zombies movie, I knew it was going to be something special. I knew Freya Sky was destined for great things, and she had an EP just recently dropped back in February. I believe on February 6th this one came out. It was called Stardust. It may have only had 5 songs as part of the compilation, but songs like Silent Treatment and Why'd You Have to Call beautifully collaborated, and it really gave us a chance to really get inside of Freya Sky's heart and her mind and really understand what kind of a person she truly is. She is a beautiful person. And guys, if you haven't realized that, or you don't even know who Freya Sky is, where have you been all this time? Freya is a wonderful person. She is undeniably beautiful, and from the first moment I saw her, I knew she was going to be something special. I knew she had it. And I wanted to showcase that in every video I would ever have the chance to go on to record. I never imagined that my videos about Freya Sky would be so well received and subscribed to all the time, because people are forever hitting my subscribe button emphatically, because they know that when they see Jonathan Clarke coming on YouTube, he's going to say something nice about Freya Sky for her Stars Align World Tour, which is achieving tremendous success and so much praise, or her upcoming album, which eventually will happen for her, because just like Kylie Cantrell, she will have an album. It's just going to take some time. I think a 5-star compilation, a 5-track compilation rather, is a wonderful way of introducing her to a industry that is forever evolving and constantly changing. And I think the more love and support that we can show Freya Sky really will allow her to go the distance and achieve all of her dreams. Because the one thing I've always wanted all of your favorite stars to have the chance to do is the chance to achieve their dreams, because there is no other greater feeling in the world. I think it takes away the criticism. It allows people to back off them and give them more of a chance. And I think that we can give them more of a chance. Their story is going to be one of the greatest stories ever told, or one of the greatest stories we would ever have the chance to experience, because as a host of this show, I always wanted to be a part of something special and to experience that something special with all of you. And you guys really allowed me to become the voice of the soundtrack of Descendants of Zombies, because ever since becoming a part of that soundtrack, I've been able to showcase these characters and bring these stories to life in so many emphatic ways, because undeniably I thought that Cinderella and Alice in Wonderland were some of the most beautiful stories ever told and or experienced, and together we had the chance to experience something so special that we never ever will forget. And I think these stories are what's brought us that much closer together and really made us the best of friends, allowed us to take something special away from it each and every single time we've ever watched the show. And we have more of a show to be a part of and to experience, because we're going to have more live performances. We're going to have more chapters of this franchise, because what we're setting ourselves up for is the chance to be a part of both history and an expansion. And both ways of looking at it are wonderful ways, because whenever you have the chance to create history or to be a part of it, it's really a wonderful experience, and it's really life-changing, and it's something that you will never, ever forget. So thank you so much for choosing this YouTube channel time and time again as your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel. It has always been my profound honor to create so many wonderful videos offering you inspirational thoughts and predictions about Kylie Control's future and also Freya Sky's future and many of your favorite Descendants of Zombies cast members, because the way I perceive this is this story is far from over and we still have a long way to go, and I'm excited to be a part of that future and to share in it with all of you. Thank you so much for having chosen this YouTube channel time and time again, time after time, as your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel. And as always, thank you so much from my heart to yours for always choosing this YouTube channel and for having watched this video.